Hello, this is the video associated with the elements of the database approach. So we have seen file processing systems, we have seen what is a database management system, we've seen the advantages of the database approach. Now we're going back to page 10 of chapter 1. We are going to now talk about data models. So when we talk about data models, we're talking about going from the file processing system and trying to determine from the files what are the things that we're trying to keep track of, the people, places, and things. Those things are entities. We're going to refer to them as entities. They are basically nouns. People, places, and things. They can be events, they can be concepts. So when we talk about entities, those are the people, places, and things that we are trying to keep track of. And then data models are graphical systems used to describe that, and we'll do that in the next couple of slides. There are two different levels or categories of data models. There's the enterprise data model, which is high level. This is when I look at this as the first blush. Right, so I'm trying to get a high level look at my data. But then at some point we get down to the nitty gritty and we actually have to make a project data model. We really need to get into the detail. So the enterprise is a broad look. The project data model is a more detailed look. We're going to talk about relationships. Relationships are basically business rules that we're going to talk about, partially business rules. How are our entities related one to another? And then that's where the term relational databases comes from, because we are going to, within the database, put rules together and set up relationships between our entities and come out with a relational database. Let's take a look at slide 18. So in this case, we're talking about a fairly simple, the enterprise data model is fairly simple, right? We've got our customer, we've got our order, we've got our product. The relationship line, these are what are known as crow's foot lines. So you can see that a customer places orders, and you can see that that's plural because the crow's foot on the bottom. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. Right, so this right here, right, that is a crow's foot, right, which implies that there is a many, right, so a customer can submit many orders, whereas this, since there is no crow's foot on this side, this is telling us that any particular order can be associated with one and only one customer. And we'll get into that in other slides. So you can see that this is fairly simple, fairly high level. Then the project level data model really gets into the customer, gets into some more of the detail. These, the customer ID and the customer name, those are what are known as attributes. Again, we'll talk about those later. So we've got the customer, the order. There's now, because if you look at the enterprise model, there's a many-to-many relationship. That has to be broken down by what's known as an associative entity. We'll get into that later. But that's why when you get into the project level, there is actually a new order line entity put there. We'll get into that later. So here we're getting more into the project level. So again, the rules, this is like a business rule. So one customer will place many orders, but each order is placed by a single customer. This relationship line, one order has many order lines, right? So any particular order could be for more than one product. But any order line can only be associated with one particular order. And then we look at the relationship between product and order line. It's the same thing as order and order line. It's just now we're saying that any product can be associated with many order lines, but any particular order line can only be associated with one product. So therefore, one order involves many products, and one product is involved in many orders. hopefully that is clear. And then this is more, this again is the same type of idea. This is just a high-level enterprise model, getting a little bit more involved, right? So now we've got our customer, we've got our order. Some orders are back ordered. Orders affect inventory. Inventory pricing history has to be kept because something that I sell today is not necessarily going to be the same price that I'm going to charge for something 3 months ago or 5 months ago or 5 months in the future. Would be the end of the what are the components of the database approach.